Hello and welcome to episode 60, big 60 of Reseller Information Network. We're so glad you're here hanging out with us today. Today will be our last show of this year. So, I know panic set in momentarily, but the last show of this year, we're still going to be here for sure. But we wanted to take some time today and talk a little bit about some things that happened in the past and some things we're looking forward to in the future. So we're going to be doing that, highlighting that today. We do thank you guys, each and every one of you guys that are here and making comments. I wanted to go ahead and dive into a few comments. As always, we do ask you to leave your questions and comments. 1525 Cat says, my goodness, what happened to Eric's shop? It's all organized and clean, looks great. I fixed it. Just so you know, I fixed it. We got back to our normal work environment. Now, that's something I'll be talking about a little bit later. Daniel Wasaki 3370 says, Merry Christmas. Thank you for taking the time to make these videos. You guys give great advice and have honest conversation. I truly appreciate it. And then we have, let's see, scroll up. Trash Cat Rescue, Kristen says, hold on to your hat camp hats. I'm writing a book. Whoa. I cannot express enough gratitude to you guys for everything you've helped me with and continue to help me with. I started this journey in June, completely lost, and I finally got brave enough to ask questions, and you guys never hesitated to step up and help. The information you have provided myself and others in the community has been so beneficial. I really think I would have walked away from this in frustration if it was not for your continued support and encouragement. Each one of you provides so much knowledge and insight, not to mention the celebrations with me as I hit milestones on this path. I will continue to support you guys any way I can, and I will continue to tell a friend to tell a friend. Much love to my reseller fam. Kristen, that got a little misty on that one, Chris. Got a little misty on that one.
Trying to make us cry, yeah.
I was like, man. JDL says, Merry Christmas to my guys, Eric, Chris, Leroy, and Tim. Have a happy holidays to and a prosperous and healthy new year. Keep up the good work. In a box in the garage says, Merry Christmas to all you and your families. FYI, Google Podcasts is going away in April and is being migrated to YouTube Music. Thanks for the tip. High Plains Flipper, great show as always. Merry Christmas to all of you. Miss Jacqueline Rose with the 3 hearts. Thank you very much, Miss Jacqueline Rose. And now, guys, you guessed it. It's that time. Get your vocal cords warmed up, Tim, because we got a couple extra channel members coming out today.
I haven't had any coffee today either.
Uh-oh.
Or Celsius, anything.
Yeah, I've had a Celsius, but I've lost it. I had it in here. All right, let's roll.
Thank you to our channel members, AZ Katsu, Simply Shenanigans, Shanna, Diane Matthews, our very own Blood, Sweat, and Cell, Trash Cat Rescue, New England Betty Boop, Joe Deals, Old School Picker, Vintage Sport Flips, Charities, Terrific Finds, Kathleen the Fernway Flipper, Ohio Pickers, Annette and Frank, Rudely Retro, Absolute Finds, Des Hardy, Heather Peddler, James Steinbreaker, Hold Paths, High Plains Flipper, Walter Tilton, Black Sheep Society, Death Pile Picker, Mark Rollins, Tracer J's Trading, Aaron Vaughn, and introducing Central Iowa Picker.
Yeah.
Whew. Man, it's like the back of my neck.
Yeah,
feels
dude.
That.
We're gonna have to. Man, that's a lot.
We might just have to record that and then just play it. So.
Yeah, we might have to do it because that's as we get longer. Look, we do appreciate each and every one of you guys as channel members. Y'all help support us to continue to be able to do what we do. and we thank you so much. So much appreciated. Thank you guys. Oh, let me see. How do I get that thing? All right. So today we're going to be talking about we'll start out with the past, right? Like maybe ghost of Christmas past, Christmas present, Christmas future, right? But concerning the new year, oftentimes we talk about resolutions. I think it's good at times to look back though. I was actually thinking today about some of the things that we've done over the years, no pun intended, but over the years that we've been together. And one of the questions I have for you guys, if you could think about, okay, one of the times we've actually had occasions to get together in person a few times over the past few years. So like when we think about things that we've done together over the years, whether it be podcasts, which the non-podcast podcast, we call it a show. We're not hip enough for the podcast situation, but our show, or just listing and loafing are the things we've done. Guys, what are some things that if you think about the past with us, that some highlights along the way? If you think about those, for me, I cannot. I'll just go ahead and steal one from all you guys because I know this is on the list, right? Mr. Carl's basement will go down in history for me as something I will never forget.
Oh man,
being a part of you guys. For you guys.
Can we do this? Can we retell the story
about
it for people that don't know about it?
Yes. All right. So Mr. Carl's basement, we're at the 100-mile yard sale up there picking together, all four of us, same place, same time. I go to yard. We're all picking the trail, right? So me and Leroy are in a car, Cernoch and Tim are in the car. We're rolling down the highway. We stop at a couple sales. You guys already know I'm Mr. Let's find a house to get into. That's just my MO. Is like I want to go on a private pick, even if we're at all these yard sales. So I'm always asking people, just like these guys are, hey, do you have any hats, finished clothing? Do you have this or that? I said, do you got any hats at a yard sale? An older gentleman standing there at the table, he says, I got a bunch of hats up at the house.
But wait, didn't we go there last year?
Yeah.
This is the first time.
First time around.
But that was last year, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're just giving them the backstory to this year's pick. Okay.
Year before and this year. All right, so year before we go, and what happened is I show up. The guy's like, come back, right? Come back. We had a great day with Mr. Carl. We actually went over there at 12. I don't think we left till like 3:30. Like we were there for a minute and hanging out with this older gentleman who at first was not happy with us, right? We go in the basement with Mr. Carl. He shows us the hats. Unfortunately, the hats were flea market hats. $3 to $5 hats is what they were, which we were not interested in. I thought Mr. Carl was going to pull a gun on me. He reached in his pocket and pulled out a knot of cash. I'm at the back of the basement, like my back against the wall, literally. He's between me and the guys. The guys are on the other side of the room. As he's yelling at me, these guys are taking a little step back. They're like seeing, like, what's going on here? And he reaches in his pocket and pulls out a wad of cash and says, I don't even need your money. So then Cernoch kind of saved the day the first trip around. And he's like, "Guy, I'm not really interested in these hats. What makes me excited is this." And he pulls out this vintage Virginia Tech sweatshirt. And he holds it up. And the guy said, this old thing, you can have it. And to that time, Leroy kind of took Mr. Carl aside and talked with him. And Cernoch had kind of got things off of what we were at before. We ended up walking out of there with some hats. And then he took us in a container full of stuff, ended up giving us some stuff, sold us some stuff. We went into a shed. And then we were like, man, this guy had every T-shirt I think he'd owned for the past 30, 40 years in his basement. And so it was a unique time. It was a working together kind of thing. We go back this past year, and Mr. Carl unfortunately had passed away. His wife said that honestly that day that he still talks about that day before he passed, about the day that the RIN the Reseller Information Network guys showed up at his house and hung out with him all day. So we had a great time. And then we came back and dealt with his wife. She's a little tougher, guys. She's a little tougher to deal with.
Yeah.
I'll let Tim pick up the story a little bit because we had some interaction. Tim and Cernoch, Leroy, if you guys want to chime in. So year 2, we're at the house, and
well, before we even get to the house, year 2, which is this year, at the 100-mile yard sale, I want to say it was Cernoch and I when we were at one of the flea market spots on the 100-mile yard sale, and we had ran up on like this booth, and it looked like I had bought I bought the it's downstairs, a Notre Dame trash can.
Yeah, they had the trash cans.
And there was all this like sports memorabilia, like
mall closure.
not say memorabilia, but like stuff that you would buy like at a team shop. And it was massive amounts of it. And Cernoch and I looked at each other like, this looks like all the stuff that was in the trailer at Mr. Carl's house. And we started talking to the guy, and the guy told us that's how we found out that Mr. Carl had passed away. And the guy had told us, basically he bought everything that was in the trailer. And so that's how we found out that he had passed away. And then when we ran into Eric, maybe 20 minutes later or so, we told him. And then I don't remember how we got.
Me and Leroy went to the house.
Yeah, you and Leroy went to the house.
Knocked on that door.
And then we all go back, and then next thing you know, so apparently there was more parts to this house that we didn't even know about, some barns. So we go back to the house, and Eric and Cernoch go downstairs, and Leroy and I gotta go to the barn area. And Leroy found himself some tools. Leroy took a bullet for the team on this whole thing. And I'm gonna let him tell that part of the story. But man, I was digging through barns because they had said that there was a whole bunch of Fenton glass in one of the barns. Unfortunately, there wasn't any Fenton glass in the barns, but I did find a lot of really cool stuff. Some NASCAR shirts, all over print stuff. Some other interesting stuff. Rod Picking and Punching was there too, and he found some cool pieces. I found a Pokemon card in there that was worth some good money. So I put together a pile of stuff from out in the barns, and then I go back to the house, and I go down. Eric and Cernoch are in the basement just loading construction bag black trash bags. Those things are probably 20-gallon trash bags. I don't even know. They were huge.
Yeah.
And so I'm with Leroy, and Eric and Cernoch come up, and then I'm pretty sure Leroy was the first person to kind of talk to Mr. Carl's wife about checking out price-wise if Leroy wants to pick up the story from there, and then we'll go to what I paid, and then we'll go to what Cernoch and Eric's negotiation, and then we'll go into the draft.
The first year I get to jump back. We'll have stories upon the story. So the first year when we went, so Eric said he was in that room with the hats. Cernoch is not happy with the prices. He's already in the other room looking at stuff. That's where he found the judge of tech. Me and Tim are outside of the door, and we're like, this is a look good. Every time the guy speaks his voice a little louder, me and Tim are taking a step back. And poor Eric's over there by himself. We were ready. And then once Cernoch told him we were more interested in his old clothes, he opened up a little bit, and we tried to give him money. Well, once we tried to give him money, he wanted to beat us up. He was mad again. He got mad again. He didn't want our money. He's like, I don't need your money. And then we sat down there, we're talking for a few more minutes, and he said, well, when we go back upstairs, just say you gave me something, okay? Because he didn't want his wife to know that he gave us the stuff for nothing. He ended up giving us 15, 20 pieces between the three of you guys.
Yeah.
And so that was cool. And then he had a hat, and it was a machinist hat. I had a machinist tool. I said, Mr. Carl, I have that hat. And he said, yeah, you can have it. And Eric said, you can't have no hat. So you can have one of the reseller information, one of the OBX hats. So Eric gave me an OBX hat. I have the hat here. I don't know where it is.
I have that one for him too.
Yeah. So we ended up getting the hats. So skip over to this year. when we went back, we found out it passed. It hit me pretty hard. I don't know why, it just did. And then we went back. Me and Eric went to we just went to spread our condolences, just to say, hey, he was really nice guy. We're sorry. Did it really happen? Because you hear rumors. So she wasn't there. She made an appointment with us to come back, and she talked to Eric on the phone. Like right away, she called him, and she's like, yeah, no, I got more stuff. If you guys want to look around at the other stuff. So when we showed up, now there's two other guys in the mix. Now there's two other guys in the mix that we didn't know about, and they think that we're gonna do snowballs on this lady. And honestly, the snowballs were them. They were the ones that were trying to do dirty, and we were paying prices for stuff. And when I went to go pay, I had a couple of small toolboxes because I had a feeling. I just had a feeling, so I just grabbed a few things, and she was like $85. I'm like, $85. That's all. I only bring $300 to the wholesale. That was a quarter of my whole bankroll. So, then when Tim went up, the price got down, and Eric and Cernoch will tell their story of what they paid for the bags of clothes. But the crazy thing was those other two guys in the mix. I didn't like that at all. That totally threw me for a loop. And Cernoch was ready to run. He went outside, and I was like, calm down. Let Eric do Eric's thing, and then you guys can pick up at that point.
I got the good bargain though. I was like, I showed the bucket of stuff that I had. It was a basket, actually. I think I still have that basket. It was a basket, and like I kind of was like, oh, I got this kid's shirt, and I got these like pencils because Rod left me some pencils he wanted me to get or something like that. I can't remember what they were, but like. She was like, $20. I was like, oh, all right, cool. So here's $20, and then I let Eric take care of the rest. And it was kind of awkward for like a good 30, 45 minutes. Cernoch was like, I don't think this is going to happen. I mean, there was like 8 to 10 construction bags full of clothes. Yeah. I mean, you guys.
Cernoch was not near that calm.
Eric finished out the deal, and then we went back and did the draft.
Cernoch.
Yeah, so we're digging and grabbing all this stuff from the basement.
We were over an hour down there, hour and a half.
Sweat, dude, just sweating, getting all this stuff, looking like, all right, just look at this, grabbing stuff, looking at every corner because all the other stuff, all the sports stuff had already been gone. It was all Mr. Carl's stuff. So when we get upstairs, we start like carrying the a couple of these.
It was 10 bags. I told him let's only bring one up.
Yeah. And then I don't remember what she said. Eric, you might be able to help. I don't remember specifically what she said, but it was
$7 a piece.
Yeah. It was like something like crazy where she wanted to count every piece we had, and it was like $6-7 a piece. And I'm like, no way. One bag would be $600 or something like that, So I'm like, no way. And like Eric's like, talking, and I'm like, I feel myself. I'm like, oh, this isn't gonna work. I started freaking out. I'm like,
I went outside with Cernoch.
Nothing. We might get out of here with one bag, or we're gonna have to go back downstairs and dump it all out. And I just got overwhelmed. So I'm like, but Eric was I saw the little twinkle in Eric's eye, like, hey, let me. I ain't going, dude. He was sitting
on the couch,
and like Broski wasn't moving. I'm like, well, I'm gonna leave this in Eric's hands. Like if Eric can pull this, let me. But I'm like this. To me, I was like, it's dead. We're gonna have to say thank you, but no thanks. Thank you so much, but we're not gonna be able to do that. That was one of those ones I thought we were just gonna walk away. We were just gonna have to walk away and be over. So, and I'll let Eric finish out.
So for me, I did want to rewind for a second just to touch on something. So when we first went the first time and offered, like, I'm literally up against the wall, and these guys are behind Mr. Carl, and they're giving me hand signals. Like, they're like, because we had like all these boxes of hats, And so I'm like thinking about it. He looked down and I'm like flashing like 100. And they're like, no. They're like, so I told him when I gave him the price, that's when he got mad. Because I was like, dude, I said, I would be like, I think I said, for all these, I'd probably do $100 on every box you have.
Yeah.
And he's like, he tweaked on me. He lost it. And then these guys kind of calmed him down. I calmed him down to a degree because I said, I'll be honest, man, I'm going to sell these things for $3 to $5 a piece. Like, that's what I would do. So, like, if there's 10 hats in a box, like, we're not doing that much. So then, dealing with him after that, we all became friends. He ended up giving us stuff like that day. When we came back the next time, his wife, like I said, she's a little bit more. Honestly, there was two factors. There was these other guys that had came just to make sure we weren't taking advantage of them, is what they said, even though they were taking advantage of her.
Yes.
But so when we got there, we were having to navigate that. So me and Cernoch did go in the basement. I said, let's just load up what we want. And then we'll take one bag up there and just kind of show her a sample of what it was. Not trying to do anything shady, but keep in mind, this lady hasn't been in the basement in 10 years. Is what she said. I've not been down there in the basement in 10 years. In the basement is literally like mall clothing racks, big round ones, slam full of t-shirts. I mean, like slam full of t-shirts, sweatshirts, jackets. And so when we go down there, me and Cernoch, we filled 10 of those 50-gallon trash bags, like lawn and leaf bags, like the real deal. And so we haul one up because I was like, dude, if it ain't a deal, I'm just going to leave those other 9 down there and take this one back down there or whatever. So when we get there and she's like, yeah, how many pieces you got in there? I said, we didn't count, I'll be honest. And so she's telling me what I was, saying. And like, she asked me for a price first. So, that ain't going to end well. And I said, look, I just need to know kind of where you're at, make sure we're anywhere close. I actually told her something stupid. I said like $10 a bag is what I said right out of the gate. And she's like, no way. Like, you got to be out. She said she'd burn it before she sell it for $10 a bag. And so when she said that, I was like, well, where are you at? And she's like, I was thinking like $7 a piece. And we're going to start counting this. She goes, well, what all's in there? How many pieces do you think are in there? I said, I have no idea. Like, we just showed them in a bag. And so when she said that $7 a piece, and she's like, ain't no way I would do it for anything less than that. That's when Cernoch rolled out. He's like, I'm out. And that's when, like he said, at first I was sitting on the edge of the couch, and I just leaned back on the couch. And I said, I kind of looked at it. I sat there and looked at her for a second. I said, let me ask you this. If we hadn't come here today, what would happen to those clothes? And she's like, they probably just sit there in the basement. Like, she was honest about it. She's like, they probably sit there. And so after she said that, I was like, well, I said, let us help you at least unload some of this stuff out of here, and you can make a little money off of it. And we kind of started talking a little bit more about, I mean, I know for us, like, we came back here, not just to try to buy stuff, but truly, like, there was a connection there with Mr. Carl that previous year. I mean, for me, I always have this thing with older people. I like to talk to older people, I'll be honest. Like, I like to hear their stories. I like to, and, he spent some time with us that day just talking about, basically, she had lost her son. That's how they ended up with all that stuff from the thing. So, we talked and had a few moments, and then she finally's like, she goes, 200. I said, I've got, she goes, well, how many bags you got? And I was like, I told her, and she's like, well, would you do 200? I said, yeah, we'll do that. So we paid 200 for 10 bags, and then we get back, and after that, we haul. Then I go outside, and Cernoch's less red, and I was like, hey, let's go get all these bags, guys. So we get in there and get it. He's like, what did you pay? It's funny because outside there's Kevin, there's Rod, and Mike. Was Mike there too? Yeah, so all those guys are outside, and Cernoch said, ain't no way we're getting anything here. And I come out, I say, guys, let's go get the bags. And Kevin and I were like, we're out. So then we get back to our Airbnb and haul all these bags upstairs and have like a literal draft. So, and then Cernoch actually sold his stuff before he even got home, like some of his sweatshirt stuff.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, I've sold 2 pieces to Tim since then. So, on One Stop Shop. So honestly, though, that's the kind of fun stuff that you never know what we're going to run into. Like we've bought hats like by the ton and sold them same day at the 127 at the 100-mile yard sale. The first year we went to 100 Mile together, I hit a lick on hats, and me and Cernoch ran an auction that night. And well, all of us really ran an auction that night with Kevin as well. So good times.
It was great. It was fun.
So that's like a behind the scenes of what we've done together, but also thinking about possibly what's coming in the future. I will just tell you, and I think I speak for all of us to a degree, this coming year, we're going to try to put something together to where you folks, RIN, can come and hang out with us at some type of event. I'm not going to promise you it's going to be the first half of the year, but at some point throughout the year, we will put together an RIN event. And it won't be like postponed kind of thing. It'll be something like, maybe one of these long yard sales, or maybe just come and pick through Cernoch's basement or something.
Hey, never know.
Yeah, West Virginia, take me home. All right, so if that's an event, like, let's talk about. So, what are some of you guys' favorite finds of this past year? Like a time that you just come up on something. I already know where Leroy's going to go, so I'm going to pull him first.
Do you really?
Yeah.
I got off the top of my head, I want to see if you, I want to see if these guys know. So go ahead.
Leroy's Adventure is one of the ones I was thinking that we were together on. The big trailer where you were like a kid in a candy store, like slinging tools at everybody.
Okay, how about you, Tim?
I have no idea. I mean, I was gonna say the Georgia part of 127. You did pretty well during that time too.
Cernoch?
I don't know.
The helicopter.
That was in Georgia.
Oh,
127, right?
The helicopter was with Eric. It was a broken RC
You guys
helicopter.
were in Georgia on their way to 127, right?
Yeah.
No, that was at the 127.
Well, yeah, but on your way to meet us in Tennessee.
Yeah, it was day one, 127.
Yeah. That was my best. That was it wasn't much. It was about $130 I sold it for, but I bought it for like $6. No, not $6.
That's Leroy's favorite because I was there and I'm busy talking and he's over there just scoring.
Oh, I pulled like $200 out of that place. I spent.
He's like, would you have looked at that stuff? I was like, I'd have looked at it and walked past it. That's what I would have done.
Yeah. So that was cool for me.
All right, Cernoch.
There's a couple, but what? Well, because I don't want to, because I think we're gonna do a show and tell too of like the best. I'm not gonna do my best sold. I was gonna do my best sold, but I'll say I do a lot of like RA. Okay, I do a lot of RA. I'll tell you a double up. Or two RA stories. One was a quick flip. It was the quickest $500 flip I've ever done. I found at Gabe's. These are both found at Gabe's. I found a Schwinn like Peloton-esque exercise bike. These things are like literally $1,200 to $1,500. It's $120 at Gabe's. So I'm like, man, I'm racking my brain. I'm like, oh, how, let's do it. Let's just get it. It's just one box. We'll figure out shipping later. So I bought it. They loaded it up. It was heavy. It was 108 pounds. So I got this 108-pound box. And I put it up, dude. It sells like in a week for $800, and like plus shipping. All in, they were like they paid like $1,000 for this bike, and sent it out, and I was just like that was after fees and everything and buying costs, it was about $500 I made on that. So I was like, that was great. And then here's one thing too, and I know it doesn't it happens sometimes, but it doesn't happen to everyone. sometimes when you have that weird item at a store that you go to like all the time, because I go to my games all like probably 3 to 4 times a week because you never know what they're gonna get in. But sometimes I don't jump at the like I'm like, ooh. So they got in these red wing boots, okay? And they had these spikes on the bottom of them. Basically, they're called logger caulk boots or caulking boots, okay? So they had like 8 pairs of them, but they were $80 a piece. So I'm like thinking, $80 a piece. That's not, that's a lot. But then I'm like, who's buying these? Like, who's gonna like actually go? I'm gonna buy these for like a pair of regular Red Wing boots. I might have bought because to flip if it was right. But like those, I'm like, who's gonna like actually like buy these and like want to? I'm like, these are gonna sit here forever. So I let them sit. I let them sit. I let them sit. I let them sit. And then all of a sudden, I looked in one day, and I looked down, and I saw that red tag. And I said, nice. I said, but you know what? If they've sat this long, I'm going to let them sit again. So they were literally $32 on sale the first time. I could have bought all of them and made money. But I waited. I said, you know what? In 2 weeks, this is going to go down. So I come, about 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, I look down, boom, overmarked. $21. I said, I'm buying every single one. And I bought every single one. I still have, now this is how good they are. I've sold them anywhere from $300 to $400 like for a pair of boots because they're like the ones that like their competitor makes, like Nick's boots. Their caulk boots are literally $1,000. So, and Red Wing doesn't even make these anymore. They've been discontinued. And they had, and on top of it, they had Gore-Tex on them too. So it was like what, So yeah, I'm getting $300 to $500 for them. So I think I bought 8 pairs, and I think I've sold like 4 of them. So for anywhere from $300 to $500, or $300 to $400. So that was 2 of my good finds. Yeah.
Well,
not my best find. We'll save that one. Not my best find.
Well, for me, I'll tell you, my favorite find is easy. We were at the 127, and I bought this big box of parts, and man, I I thought you guys would get a kick out of that.
Oh, God.
I
filled
actually
the back of my car with parts.
I don't know. I had some any of the trips I feel like are always like my favorite finds because I feel like I find things that I normally don't see all the time, and they're fun picks because I'm like with people and like it's just the atmosphere of the whole experience is different. Whether it's 100-mile yard sale to 127. Whether it's me and Cernoch doing the Route 11 that we do, the Route 11.
Yeah.
I always have fun at all those things. So for me, like those are like my favorite picks. Outside of that house that I did a couple of house clean outs that ended up being like really good. A house clean out, like I was like in the crawl space, like in the attics, like pulling stuff out, like hitting Cernoch up, like toys, all types of wild stuff. Like it was crazy, and it was free. So that was like a lot of fun, and I did really well on that. And I think like specifically, I will tell you one of the ones was when we were at the 100-mile yard sale. We had walked up to this sale, and it was like everybody was there. And every single person walked past this table of these glasses. They're like champagne glasses, and they were like sparkling, beautiful. And there was 2 different like sizes of the glasses and sets, like one set of like 6 and one set of like 4, or it was either 4 and 6 or 8 and 6. And it was like $10 for each set. And I was like, this is crazy. Like pristine condition. I bought them all. And they each I think I made like around, but it was either between like $280 and $400 I made on those glasses. And it was just funny to me because I was like walking back to the car and everybody was like, "What did you find?" And like Kevin's there like with the GoPro, and I'm like telling him, I'm like, "Dude, like, every single one of you guys walked past all of these glasses." So like for me that was just like a cool pickup because like it's so tough to find stuff like that in like that like amount of them in the condition and for that price. Like it was just like one of those finds where it's like everything, sometimes you find something like that and it's like, oh, it's broken or it's missing a piece or the price isn't right. So like for me, like when all of those things come together, when you buy something, that's always going to be like one of my favorite finds. So that's just a couple of tidbits from this year. There's just so many, and like it's tough to like think about. Like I think next year I'm gonna like make a list so that I have these ready, so that when we talk about this next year, I can be like, all right, guys, here's my list of favorite finds from 2024. You know what I'm saying? Because you do it so much. Like Eric and I were talking about it yesterday, how like sometimes like you're just like it's all you do all day. It's like reselling. So it's like sometimes it's hard to kind of put all that together,
Yeah, for sure.
Or even like finding stuff that I've never found before. Because like at the 100-mile yard sale, remember that Hermes scarf?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean that was
50 cents,
was
right?
50 cents, and I sold it for $400 to someone in France. So I mean that was another one. I mean, yeah, it's just.
I'll be honest, man. I've never even looked at a scarf until Cernochs.
Oh,
like,
okay.
I see them, but like since he pulled that, I was like, whoa, I gotta start looking at this stuff.
Because you said that, you reminded me too. Because I did want to say this. One of my favorite like picks this year too was the back end of this year, like really seriously taking like what I learned from Cernoch when it came to like jackets and boots, and really implementing it like really, not like just being like, oh hey, that's cool, I got a bolo now, like literally like taking the time to like learn about boots and jackets. It really saved my Q4, to be perfectly honest with you. Like I sold so many boots and like and jackets, it fell perfectly in line with like what I've been trying to do that like as this year has progressed with like my buying, like larger profit margins, things that are like you can move in season, like especially like at my thrift stores, because at my thrift stores they like they don't put jackets out like that all year long, you know what I'm saying? So it's like you really taking advantage of that opportunity and putting in the work, and it paid off so much this year. So that's like one of my favorite things too, is like when you learn something and then you're actually able to like use it in the field, like when you're sourcing and stuff like that, and implementing it in your business is absolutely so important. And if like how that feeling is when you learn something and then the first time you find it and like you get home and you're like all excited and you want to send a picture to the guys and you want to tell everybody like, oh, I found like you get all excited, and then when it sells you're like, oh my god, this actually was like a thing. So yeah,
Well, that's the thing about, and I think that's the hidden thing about boots is where it's not the Air Jordan everyone's looking for, because like when people go to thrift stores or yard sales and they'll look at shoes, but they're looking for the hype stuff, where a regular pair of boots just sitting there, you look at it and you go, well, what are these? Oh, these are 1970s Vietnam military combat boots,
Yep.
There's some, oh, those boots, yeah, $2 on those, so something like that where people aren't like have their eyes, or people don't realize where it's like, if they have a Jordan shoe, your grandmother knows what a Jordan shoe is now, like, so it's a lot of these people are getting like wiser and hipper to, oh, well, these are Nike shoes, these are Jordan shoes, these are going to command a more value. Where a lot of times boots, there's like, yeah, whatever, where you can, we've shown ways where you can take a boot, put a little bit of leather lotion on it, and it's
Like,
You know,
dude, I would have, like, for example, like just one of the boot examples. Like, it's not even necessarily a boot brand or like or anything that like we talked about specifically, but because of what I was like already had learned from Cernoch and what I was looking for, like when you start to go through these boots, the boot is so easy to feel the quality in,
Yeah.
right? Like there's certain things you can look at with the boot that Cernoch has taught all of us, but like you feel the like if it's like a rubber sole and it's like it weighs like a half a pound, and then if you pick one up and it's like 2 pounds for a pair, one boot of 4 pounds in a pair,
Yeah.
And so like I was looking through the boots and I found those Chippewa engineering boots. Like I had never heard of them, nothing. But I knew based upon all the stuff that I had been learning so far up to that point about boots that this is something I need to look up. And I looked it up and I was like, holy smokes, these boots are selling for like 200 something bucks. And like mine had some scuffs on it, nothing crazy. Leather lotioned it up, took the good picture, Photoroom AI background, which probably gets the award for any reselling anything of the year is Photoroom AI background if we're giving out awards here. But like for me, that was it was crazy. It sold for 185 bucks, and like I never would have even been in that section of the store if it wasn't for what I learned here at RIN. So it's kind of crazy to think about stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, if you really
Go ahead, Leroy.
if you really appreciate what RIN does for you, we do have a membership down below. You can very easily join the membership, and you can probably learn a little bit extra because we do courses like every couple months. We'll do something and we'll talk just to the members. So if you ever want to look into that, feel free. It's right down below, guys.
Leroy's trying to get my head to explode.
Infomercial. Hey, I was gonna, since you guys have already gone into that, let's just dive into that for a second as well. So, like Tim's already kind of explained, one of the things he learned this year from us, and it could be from other people as well, but is through Cernoch. Like I'll say the same thing. Boots, like there's so much. It's so crazy. I'm talking with Pinjo Thrift yesterday, and he was showing me some things that he had, and I'm sitting there asking him questions that I can honestly say I would have had no clue up to that point until like he literally threw up a jacket on his auction last night. That's like, dude, that's reversible, right? Because he's like, there's no tag in there. I said, that's reversible. And he's like, I said, look in the pocket. And I was like, that's something that I would have never known. And like, just like what Tim's saying, boots, like it's one of those things. Now I can literally not even look at tags. I can just walk down and pick them up.
Yeah.
Like, and you can feel it. You know what it is. You already like you can already say this is the pleather, like super thin. That's worth nothing. Like just move on. Like that's the kind of stuff that for me it's just elevating the game, and it's not something you can't learn it all at once. But you start building a little library of knowledge to where, like Joey was telling me last night in the auction, he's like, how do you know this stuff? And I was like, RIN, bro. Like, I've been hanging out with these guys for a long time.
Hey, like your brain's a sponge. Just keep adding.
Yeah.
Here's a brand I've never heard of. Put
Yeah.
that in the memory bank because if I'm gonna come across it. There's a brand of boots called Salewa, or I don't even know if it's SALEWA. I picked it up last year, and it's one of those. I found a few pairs, but you find that plus the Gore-Tex. Listen,
Cernoch, let me ask you. Like, this is going to be a hard one. What's something you've learned this year? It's a tough one, right?
You know what? I have been. Well, here's one thing I've learned this year, is after I'm done, like when I go to my honey hole, I'm blessed with a honey hole that people are jealous of, and I understand that. And I've become spoiled. Okay, I've become really spoiled. But what I've done is I've really kind of, while I'm there, hats, shoes, clothes, all that stuff is I know. But taking a step back and going, well, let me look at some of this tchotchke stuff. Let me look at some of these Christmas decorations. Let me look at some of this. Let me look at some of this pots and pans. You know, I picked up a few. You know, so I'm going through that exploratory process where, or I'm picking up something. I'm like, this looks weird. Like I picked up. Now I haven't sold it yet, but I picked up the bourbon barrel stamp they had.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that where it's like, you know, I'm looking around, go, what jumps out at me? Going, ooh, that's a little crazy. That's a little bit different. I'm gonna look that up and kind of being more exploratory with those things. Kind of like you know, trying to learn newer stuff. Where if I you know, kind of with the pots and pans, because I'll tell you what, the pots and pans I'm trying to learn a little bit more about because they do sell. And if I'm getting them for $1, $2 a piece, and I can flip them for 30, 40, 50, like some of these are like $50, $60 pans. It's like, yo, that's not a hard thing to do where it's like put in a box, ship it out, slap a label on it. You know, we already do the pictures with the, you know, so it's something like that where it's like keep kind of getting into like, okay.
Expanding. You know,
expanding those roles. Yeah. And just
all right, Leroy.
Knowledge. Just keep adding knowledge.
What have you learned this year?
I don't know. I'm trying to. I will tell you something I learned this year, and I learned it literally like last week. Was stop being so stupid stubborn, man. Stop being so stubborn. Like you're so stubborn. Like you're stuck on nuts and bolts, and stop being stubborn. You don't have to totally switch everything you do, but just try to switch it up a little bit. Like I do have something to show you guys real quick. I'm gonna get in trouble for this, but it's okay. It's totally okay. I don't care. But yeah, it's totally being stubborn, Eric. I'll show you in a second. Go on to someone else.
My screen just blinked for a second. I don't know if you guys saw me dip out, but
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for me, like when I think about this, not only what we've learned. Okay, so we're actually kind of getting a little tight on time, but what we want to do is also talk about not just what we learned, but what's some things that you're thinking like this coming year, either that you want to implement that may be a little different than what you've done in the past, or maybe focus in more on something like for me. I mean, I tell you guys this all the time. Organization is my Achilles. Like it really is. Like getting more organized. But I mean, I have made moves. I want to be more consistent in my auction on One Stop. I want to start doing that on a consistent basis. I would like to revive to a degree Obxpicker. Not sure exactly what I'm going to do. I think what I'm going to do is document me blowing my shed out, to be honest, because I'm fixing this. Honestly, this is my little thing that I want to start doing. I'm going to start clearing old inventory and running it on auction on the cheap. Like, just to be honest, just not that it's bad inventory. It's just I need to reset. I need to hit the refresh button. So that's something that I'm going to do.
I'm right there with you. I'm like everything is going to be different in 2024, and it's not just going to be like talking about being different. Like,
yeah,
I'm blowing out my inventory too. I'm probably going to end up taking everything down on every single platform, and just refreshing with the SKU system. You know, I finally got in financially, like, just like, I'm going to be I'm just going to be OCD with everything. And like, you know, I just signed on with my Reseller Genie too. So like, I'm super excited to like dive into that and just make my life a lot easier. So if you guys, excuse me, man, I don't know what's going on here. Sorry, I apologize. But if you guys, you know, I'm going to try and document that journey myself, learning, like Eric said, kind of just documenting the journey of this changes that I'm going to be making, you know, business-wise, personal-wise, financially, those sort of things. And so if you guys want to try my Reseller Genie, or you guys want to watch my journey, you guys can do that too. can always use code Overtheyears for 15% off your first month using my Reseller Genie. So that's going to be something I'm going to be really working on. And then kind of just within that organization and being OCD and everything. And, you know, I've been talking about for like the last like month on these episodes about how like my sourcing has changed. And I think like that's one of the main reasons why I want to refresh, is because like I want to just focus on that. I want to be able to focus on like sourcing, like not being able to come home and like be able to come home and not have like a million things I have to do because I haven't done them. You know, like just doing everything I need to do so that now I can start a new schedule. You know, having social media posts drafted the night before for all the accounts. You know, being even though like my consistency came back with YouTube, I'm still not 100% consistent. You know, I want to make that 100% consistent. You know, the really putting in all the effort and work in One Stop Shop and growing that with these guys, like, because I think that's the sky's the limit with what we can do over there. I'm really excited about that. And then just, you know, having a schedule, like a set schedule, like, okay, you're going to go sourcing this day. You're going to come home. You're going to list those items. Those items are not going to sit. You know, you're going to ship. You're going to do your videos. You're going to do your Instagram. So then that way, like, I can kind of shut off and be like, okay, now I'm going to sit on the couch with my dog and my wife and watch Netflix. You know what I'm saying? So like, to me, it's just like going back to the root of why we wanted to do this. And it's like freedom and money, like freedom from the man, freedom to do what you want to do with your life and your family. And then at the same time, like making good money, you know, like I will never blame anybody else for my downfalls as a reseller except for myself. That's the number one thing. Nobody is to blame but myself when it comes to, like, sure, there's issues and things could be done better on the other end of the platform end or the buyer end. But let's be realistic. 99% of the problems that I have are my fault and my fault only. So, like, just coming to that realization that I am in more control of the outcome of my reselling journey than anything else. And it's time to take the bull by the horns.
They're not.
Nice. I think that some of the things I'm going to be doing too is kind of like, you know, blowing some more stuff out, just doing more wholesale. One of the interesting things that I'm really curious that at the end of this month, I'm going to be taking some stuff to an auction house. Tim jumping in there too.
Yeah.
And see how that works. See how that just like. See what they're going to take, see what they're going to, and then see if it was worth, you know, I think it's going to be worth it because it's twofold. Stuff that I'm like, it's got to be stuff that's like, I'm never going to touch this, send it out, you know, versus, you know, like, you know, not just being lazy, like, oh, I don't want to sell that. But stuff like, you know, I've got so much stuff where it's like, I've already made my money on this. It can go. I've already seen some pieces. I'm like, here's 5-10 pieces I can already load up. So I want to see how that goes. And then just, yeah, like Eric said, just doing more stuff on the district. I think that's a really cool thing. We did the stuff with the Didbit, you know, with their selling platform, and that I think that went really well for everyone. So I think it's just like everyone kind of working together on that, making that a success. Where I think that'll be a very good way to sell as well. So those are the things that I'm excited about. That I'm going to be kind of like, you know, making some changes to it and jumping out there and doing that.
So yeah, so before my changes, I told you guys, like, making changes. It was, you know, make change for the New Year's. These guys might fall off the chair. Don't fall off your chair, but you're also going to yell at me. But when I was away,
What?
Leroy, using the AI background.
I didn't use anybody's code. I'm so bad with that. I did it to Eric twice. I did it with the chime, and now I did it with this. I get some in my head, and I was driving, and I was like, you know what? I did the monthly, which is really expensive, the weeklies, which is really expensive. but I can still cancel it out because I've only used it for like 3 days. So I'm gonna figure that part out. I like it and I don't like it. But I did give it a shot so far, and those were just samples of what I could show myself what I can do on those. So, like I said, guys, being stubborn, like just give it a shot. Like I can sit here and play with nuts and bolts for 3 hours, but just give this other thing a shot. Like everybody's telling you what to do and you're not doing it. So that's pretty much, I'm going to just sum it up quick because we're fast on time, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah, for me, dude, honestly, I'm super excited to see, and all of us, it's kind of crazy, like to see just growth. Like if you do take time and look back, like I think about just when we all came together, like way back in the day to now, and look at just, I mean, obviously there's things that we could all improve on. That's always the case. Like if you think you've arrived, like, I mean, obviously we still got a ways to go, but looking back and just honestly, the partnership that we formed among us, and then honestly, the things that we're doing with One Stop, the things that we're doing with Reseller Information Network, that I really know in all these guys and myself included is, yes, we're doing that, down the road in hopes that it'll help us improve our monetary situation. Like, to be honest, there is that, but we've done it for no monetary situation for so long, because out of the hopes that we can help everybody get better, at what they're doing and be more successful. When I read that comment from Kristen, I mean, for me, that's why we do what we do. End of the day, because there is fulfillment in bringing other people up, and I feel like that's what we do with each other. That's what we hope to do with you guys. Within the reselling world, at times there is severe negativity about a lot of stuff, and for us, I don't want to get in that cycle. Because, if we start, the sky is falling every day, pretty soon your sky is falling, whether it's literally or mentally. So for me to encourage, not just the guys here that like they encourage me, but be able to encourage you guys that you can do it. And if we mess up, sorry, like we do mess up at times. So we do dumb stuff at times ourselves. I've done it, I got a message today. I actually misshipped something. And so, what I'm going to do? I'm just going to say my bad and refund the money. That's what I'm going to do. Tell me, what can you do? But I do thank all you guys for being here. Thank you guys that support the RIN. Look for what's coming both here on the channel, One Stop Shop, and, these guys individually bring a lot to the table. So make sure you hit us up on that. I'm going to take it around the horn and let Tim close this out. Final thoughts, 2023.
Hey, yeah, it's been a year. Hope your Q4 was great. Hey, Q1 is right here. Staring us right in the face. Let's just go. Let's just tear right into Q1. Go for it. Keep up, the momentum. So, hey, it's been a pleasure. Hey, dude, 60 episodes, dude. We did it like an entire year of episodes. That's pretty good. Like, so everyone needs to give themselves a pat on the back. You know what I'm saying? We've done Listen Loafing. We've done here. 60 episodes. That's pretty good. Okay. Some of these other reselling, podcasts or whatever. Hey. Some of them aren't around anymore. We're 60 deep, so we're gonna keep going. So we'll see at the 100 mark.
That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, so that's very important. What Cernoch said. We got 60 in you guys. I hope you guys realize none of us have taken a break. So if any of us take a little sabbatical for a week or two, don't hold it against us. Nobody's going. Nobody got fired.
I'm taking 2 weeks in February, but I may come live from India. So
yeah, so don't think that somebody got kicked off. You don't see Eric for 2 weeks or Tim for 2 weeks. Doesn't mean anything. but we might be we might be taking little breaks here and there. Not all of us, just singly, because it gets overwhelming, guys. I'll be honest. I had to start working while I'm doing this because then I leave this and I have another meeting and then it's at 4:00 and I haven't listed a thing. So I appreciate everybody for hanging in here with us, especially me hanging in with me because I'm a wreck. But Happy New Year. The New Year, it does have nothing to do with Monday. Has to do with when you make it new. So if I want to start doing AI now and make the change, that's the change. Don't worry about always, oh, well, I'm going to do it in the New Year. No, if you feel that in your heart and in your mind that something has to change, just change it. So see you guys next year.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you all for all the love and all the support. We appreciate each and every one of you. This has been an amazing 2023 here at the RIN Reseller Information Network. We have come a long way. We have done a lot of things. But most importantly, I feel like we've helped a lot of people. And you guys, with the comments and the questions, you guys keep us going. We would not be able to do this if it was not for each and every one of you. So definitely big shout out to all of the viewers, all of the members, all of the lurkers. Each and every one of you plays a very important role here at the Reseller Information Network. Hopefully you guys are as excited about the new year as we are. And listen, just one day at a time, ladies and gentlemen, one day at a time. As always, don't forget to tell a friend about RIN Reseller Information Network. Boop, 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 boop.